Species universe. Species universe is discovering the universe as a species by locating the ultimate missing link and solving the quantum conundrum. Hi, I'm John Zettel, author of Species Universe. Give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. Ancient Chinese proverb. In this life, knowledge is an advantage. Your advantage increases with better, more accurate knowledge. Consider evolution and growth of knowledge in our world. Science and technology have moved in leaps and bounds over the millennia. Every piece of technology we have today, every advantage is the result of growing and increasing knowledge. Modern science is rooted in the moment it split from religious doctrine. While religion can succeed in helping certain beliefs, it can also hinder scientific understanding and growth. It came into direct conflict with science, for example, when scientific inquiry challenged certain religious beliefs. The Great Split occurred around the time Galileo proved the Earth revolved around the Sun. This finding upset a lot of people who believed the Earth was at the center of the universe. People lost their careers, their reputation, even their lives by challenging religious doctrines. Bruno, an Italian friar, was burned at the stake because he agreed with Copernicus, who said the Sun, not the Earth, was at the center of the solar system. Over the years, scientists and philosophers developed an objective scientific method. This method made science stronger. It also offered advantages denied to faith alone. These advantages touched on and improved every aspect of life. Education and industry, health and politics, farming and economics saw revolutions. These moves changed the world and we still live with their benefits. Approach to unfoldment of knowledge may follow a cycle. Although science helped to understand and change our outer lives, it also affected our inner lives. It pushed religion and spirituality to the back while it changed our lives. This change from religion to science, however, might be part of a cycle. With the advent of quantum mechanics, we might be moving back from the outer to the inner approach. This cycle has created a problem of sorts for quantum mechanics, what we'll call the quantum conundrum. How did this happen? It starts with the materialistic perspective. This view has long challenged religious and faith-based beliefs. In short, the materialistic perspective argues that nature and its observer are independent. Nature doesn't depend on the observer, it exists whether you do or not. As a philosophy, religion still challenges this view. As part of science, however, the materialistic perspective has led to important breakthroughs by allowing scientists to observe or measure parts of nature while adjusting for certain biases. For centuries, this perspective has dominated. Its bias has gone unchallenged. Then quantum mechanics came along. Quantum mechanics developed out of the experiment known as the Double-Slit Experiment. In a nutshell, it showed that the atomic states represent a particle-wave duality. Understanding it is crucial to recognizing this quantum conundrum or quantum enigma. Understanding this enigma may lead us to discovering the universe as a species, or as I call it, species universe. Let's see how this works. In essence, quantum mechanics is concerned with probabilities. Probabilities aren't certainties. Certainties are physical realities that can be located in space and time. A probability is something that can be located in multiple possible places inside a given area. Physicists refer to this as a probability distribution or a probability wave. Probabilities aren't physical realities. They are only possibilities. You can't locate them in space and time. They are non-physical, non-local realities. In a sense, they are nothing. The quantum enigma arises from the understanding that observation is required to collapse the particle wave distribution into a certainty, into a physical reality. To put it simply, without an observer, there cannot be a physical reality. Of course, this enigma only arises out of the materialistic perspective. Us scientists have been looking for a physical source to the physical universe for over 400 years, Dr. Michio Kaku once said. But after 400 years, we scientists cannot find a physical source to the physical universe. In fact, what we do find as a source to the physical universe is, get this, nothing. We scientists do not know what it means to discover nothing as a source of the physical universe. Dr. Michio Kaku concludes, the math of quantum theory works well. It yields predictions and results. It's not given a wrong answer, not in 100 years. However, from the materialistic perspective, it has generated a great mystery. Scientists still grapple with it, yet they accept it as part of the theory. In fact, a materialistic scientist might also assert that anyone who claims to understand quantum mechanics is crazy. To the materialistic scientist, quantum theory will continue to present a problem. It points to a non-physical, non-local source to the physical universe. Yet they still seem to be looking for a physical source. If we're to make any progress, we must shed the materialistic view. Now let's consider Albert Einstein. He accepted the notion that the velocity of light was an anomaly of nature and the same for all observers. From this, he inferred special relativity. He also did what most scientists couldn't bring themselves to do. He accepted the equivalence of acceleration and gravity. This yielded general relativity. While materialism searches for a physical source to the physical universe, let's follow Einstein's lead and accept nothing as an anomaly of nature and the source of everything. If we do accept this, then we'll see that the unified field, the single theory to explain everything, has already been discovered, and it's the nothing of quantum theory. Now we must wrap our heads around the significance of that statement. Think about it. In what ways can we think of nothing as the unified field? Nothing can't be divided into parts. There are no parts in nothing. Therefore, nothing is the only thing that ultimately can be the same for all observers. Nothing also becomes the ultimate certainty in the probabilities of quantum mechanics that Albert Einstein was looking for. How could there be anything more certain than nothing for all observers in all reference frames? What other concepts in science support the idea that nothing can be the source of everything? What about light? According to Einstein's relativity, a clock stops ticking at the speed of light. No time passes. There is also no experience of movement. That is, there is no space at the velocity of light. Einstein's conception of the velocity of light shows us that light is based on a non-physical, non-local reality. In short, it's based on nothing. If you think of things from the point of view of light, then you can imagine that, in a sense, light doesn't go anywhere. No time passes while it's moving. At the same time, we can describe light as experiencing being everywhere at once and everywhere at a single point or singularity instantly. From our point of view of looking at light, that could be two things. 1, the particle-wave duality. 2, a singularity, Big Bang duality. This understanding is significant. Take a moment to reflect on it. Do you see what we did? We just unified all of creation into a single light beam. We've also seen that all light beams are an expression of nothing. All of creation, from the smallest and the subtlest to the largest and the grossest, is a direct expression of nothing. This, of course, includes our awareness or consciousness. So why do we experience something rather than nothing? Isn't something from nothing still nothing? Yes, it is. Something from nothing is still nothing. But how, might you ask, do we account for there being something rather than nothing? If we accept that nothing is the ultimate anomaly of nature in the unified field of everything, then we don't have to account for there being something rather than nothing. Instead, we have to think of something in a different way. We must accept the something we experience, if it is also the nothing from which it is made, as an illusion. This might seem like a stretch, but how can we think of it as other than nothing if it is, at its core, still nothing? The physical universe and everything in it here on Earth or at the other end of the universe is nothing. Think back to light. The nothing of the velocity of light is everywhere at once, and the everywhere of the light beam is in a singularity all at once. This means that every infinitesimal part of creation is a possible universe. Sound far-fetched? Quantum theory says the same thing. Modern physics states that any part of creation can end up an entire universe. Contained within any part of the non-physical, non-local, or the nothing of the quantum realm, described as quantum foam, is contained the probability of an entire universe springing forth. But how, might you ask, would this make a living universe? How would it make us think of the universe as a species? How does consciousness fit in here? If something from nothing is still nothing, if the physical universe is an illusion and reality is nothing, then isn't our consciousness going to be nothing too? The answer is simple, yes. Let's think of this as quantum consciousness. How does consciousness come from nothing? Let's consider the question. Nothing has no limits. It doesn't have an inside or an outside. There is nothing outside of nothing. There's only nothing. Then nothing can only do one thing. Not being able to get outside of itself, it can at best refer to itself, what we'll call the self-referral property. If you find this confusing, try to put it into perspective. What else possesses a self-referral property? Our consciousness does. Of what am I aware when I am aware? The Veda describes beautifully how this happens. Understanding this is working towards discovering the universe as a species, so bear with me here. According to the Vedic tradition, when non-existence becomes existent, consciousness becomes conscious, and awareness becomes aware. What exactly does awareness become aware of if there isn't anything physical there yet? Awareness becomes aware of being aware. Aware that you are aware makes an illusion of two. However, there is only one thing there, awareness. The illusion of two-ness is the seed of creation. According to the Veda, out of it, the entire physical universe springs forth. So, the illusion of nature, or the physical universe, springs from awareness. This is true according to the oldest tradition on our planet, the Veda. Nothing ties consciousness to the physical. They are the same thing. What we experience as consciousness, then, is the self-referral nature of nothing. But isn't this self-referral nature of nothing also the same property of light? Isn't this nothing also the particle-wave duality of quantum theory? Isn't this nothing also the singularity Big Bang phenomena of creation itself? If it's the same nothing, then why wouldn't it be all of the above? It must be the same nothing. How could there be more than one nothing? Therefore, it must all be the same something. If you can accept this, then you must also accept that you can't separate the self-referred nature of nothing from the particle-wave duality or from the singularity Big Bang. In order to have one, you must have the other. Accepting nothing as the unified field science is in search of unifies everything, including your consciousness. If there exists a physical reality, then there will also exist an awareness or consciousness. If there exists consciousness, then a physical reality also exists. They're inseparable. The Vedic tradition can help us here too. It describes anyone thinking of the mind and the body, or consciousness and the physical, as two separate things as being in a state of ignorance. When the mind and body, or consciousness and the physical, are perceived as the same thing, then you are said to be in a state of enlightenment. The point of all this is to understand that the source of the mind and the body, of consciousness and the physical, must be the same thing. Quantum theory provides evidence for this. It points to the ultimate law of unity being nothing. So too does the Veda. It points to the ultimate law of unity to be non-existence or nothing. How could the Vedic tradition find this link if it really wasn't there? Consciousness is experienced as a non-physical, non-local reality or nothing. The Veda describes the self-referral property of nothing or our consciousness as transcendental in nature. That is why I think it could be useful to use the word consciousness to describe the source of life. However, the word nothing makes for a more rigorous description because it unifies the subjective and objective realities and brings consciousness into the realm of science. Nothing can change, so nothing as consciousness is going to be experienced the same for all observers, whether that be an atom or a person or a universe. The only difference is going to be how someone appreciates the experience of consciousness. Humans, for example, have a more sophisticated nervous system than a dog does. Therefore, a human has a more sophisticated appreciation of the same experience of nothing as consciousness. We will always experience nothing the same way, as self-referral. This conclusion is obvious. If you can't separate the physical from the mind or consciousness, then even the universe must be conscious. To accept this conclusion, you should realize that it doesn't necessarily mean the universe is a person or even a god. However, we should think of it as a kind of living organism. I choose to think of it as a living species, so I call it Species Universe. The ultimate advantage. Remember, there is only an advantage if our understanding reflects the true nature of things, not if it doesn't. And if there is an ultimate unity to nature, as everything indicates there is, then there must be an ultimate best advantage. Just maybe we already have that ultimate understanding. Does that mean we have the ultimate advantage already? That will be determined by whether or not we as a civilization choose to recognize that we already have the ultimate understanding or not. In the meantime, I invite you to explore with me this train of thought to see where it leads us. Our next question then is, how are we to think of our relationship to the universe as a species? Follow along as I bring more definition to this amazing new idea of discovering the universe as a living species by locating the ultimate missing link in solving the quantum conundrum. Or as I'd like to say, species universe. Do you think this perspective of the universe as a living species has any merit? Let me know what you think in the comments below. If this idea resonates with you, please hit the like button below. If not, you know what to do. Also, please make sure to subscribe for the latest in Species Universe. Thank you for watching.